Hi, welcome to the Active and Cooperative Learning PowerPoint. There have been a lot, or has been a lot of brain research to find out how students learn. We know that we still have a lot to learn, but we know that students cannot just be passive receivers of information, but they need to be active recipients, they need to be active participants, and they have to have something in their brains to connect the new learning to. So active learning supports this. Cooperative learning is one way to promote active learning. It is really beneficial for ELL students. Robert Slavin says that students will learn more by working in small groups toward a common goal where their success as a team is based on the individual learning of all members. Here are some of the positives of cooperative learning. Cooperative learning is not just putting students into group, and it's very different from group work. A lot of times teachers may say they're doing cooperative learning, but what they're really doing is a group work. Although cooperative learning has really gained popularity and is used in most U.S. classrooms, it's not a new idea. In 1916, John Dewey said, "It's a responsibility of the school environment to see that each individual gets an opportunity to escape from the limitations of the social group in which he was born and to come in living contact with broader environment." So to me, that says that we need to give our students a wide variety of different students to interact with and to work with. As you're doing cooperative learning activities in your classroom, make sure you have the following components. First, positive interdependence. The group sinks or swims together. Students need each other to be successful. But there also needs to be individual accountability. In order for the group to be successful, each person needs to do his part. Teachers need to check and make sure that each person is doing this. For example, when doing the jigsaw structure where each student reads part of a text, we need to make sure that each person is reading and then relaying that information to the rest of their group. There needs to be that individual accountability to support that positive interdependence. Then we have equal participation. Instead of one person doing all of the work, all of the members participate equally. There's no hitchhikers that are just along for the ride. And then in simultaneous interaction, all the students are participating. It's not one student answering the question while the other 20 students are sitting in their seats, but everybody is participating. Of course, the acronym down at the bottom, PIES, will help you remember these components. Cooperative learning can be used for many purposes, such as those listed here. We know that for ELLs, cooperative learning enhances their understanding. We also know that informal assessment gives us really good understanding of the students' learning. For those of you who are taking the assessment course in the spring, we'll discuss informal assessment there also. The teacher needs to use informal assessment to see the learning of the students. These are a few ways to do so. The last few slides are examples of a few cooperative learning structures. As you read through them, I want you to think how you might use this strategy in your class. I've also included the PowerPoint without narration in Moodle in case you want to review these slowly or print one slide. Mix and match can be an activity in itself, or it may be a way to pair up students. For example, you might give half the students a state and the other half a state capital. Your goal might be for students to be able to match up the states and capitals. Once they've found their partner, you're ready to start again. Or you might want them to discuss something that you're talking about and studying about in your current social studies lesson. Just a note, when I do mix and match, I have students walk around the room and they switch their papers with other students, and that way they don't know what they'll end up with. Placemat is another cooperative learning activity. Some of you might do graffiti right, but it's a little bit different, and each of the student will have their own part of the paper to write on. And again, how much you use placemat in your class. Add a word is especially beneficial for ELL students. Take a minute and read through the steps. Storytell is another good strategy for ELL students. It helps build vocabulary. Read through the steps. Sorry about that. There you go, back to Storyteller. Usually when you do Storyteller, you'll want students to pick a noun from a unit that you've been studying. So think about how that might look in your classroom. Four corners is a common strategy. One thing that I found is to have students write down what corner they are going to. It just gives a little more accountability that students will go where they need to, not just where all their friends are. I hope you've learned a little more about cooperative learning and will try a new strategy in your classroom. As I said, this PowerPoint will be on Moodle, and then I also have some other strategies that I'll put on Moodle. So enjoy the rest of your unit, and thank you for listening. As always, any questions, comments, concerns, call me or email me. Thanks again.